A young man spent $5 million buying a warehouse full of instant noodles and bottled water. Then, he spent $20 million converting the underground garage into an indestructible underground fortress. When people saw this, they thought the young man had lost his mind. What they didn't know was that the young man was a reincarnated person from the future. He remembered that in 7 days, the world would be struck by an unprecedented cold wave storm. At that time, the entire world would fall into a state of panic. In his previous life, the young man had risked his life to find some food, but just as he brought it back home, his fiancée and family snatched it all away. Not only did they not leave him any food, but they also scolded him for taking 3 days to bring back such a small amount of food. Then they told him to go back out and find more. At that moment, the cold wave struck, and the windows of the house cracked from the cold. The temperature inside the house dropped to a freezing -100 degrees. The young man quickly tried to find something to block the windows, but unexpectedly, his father-in-law and brother-in-law grabbed him, trying to use his body to block the windows. It was then that the young man discovered that the child in his fiancée's womb wasn't his. Just before he died, he swore that he would never forgive this family. The next moment, he was unexpectedly reborn, back to a month before the apocalypse began. At this point, he recalled that in his previous life, a car accident had happened in this very place. The female CEO died on the spot in that car accident. He quickly stopped the CEO's car, and told her that going ahead would result in an accident. The CEO thought he was just making trouble, but suddenly, a crash occurred right at the intersection ahead. To thank him for saving her life, the CEO took the young man back to her company. She decided to give him half of her fortune as a token of gratitude. Her uncle immediately disagreed, saying that even though the young man saved her, he didn't need to get $30 billion. Hearing about $30 billion, the young man was stunned. He planned to use the money to buy food, medicine, and daily necessities, and to purchase many weapons to build an underground fortress. He also needed enough coal to heat the house for 100 years. Both the uncle and the CEO were skeptical about the young man's plan. The young man told them that a month later, the apocalypse would arrive. Many people would die, so they needed to prepare in advance. The uncle didn't believe the young man's words, but the CEO insisted that the young man should decide how to spend the $30 billion himself. The young man asked the uncle to transfer the money to his account, and then immediately went home to break up with his fiancée. After getting rid of his fiancée and her family, he could finally focus on preparing for the apocalypse. As he rushed to buy supplies, a stranger woman suddenly ran up to him. Without saying a word, she kissed him on the cheek. The woman used the young man as a shield to escape the pressure of a rich second-generation man who was trying to force her to marry him. She said she already had a boyfriend and wanted to get rid of the rich man's harassment. When the rich man saw this, he tried to teach the young man a lesson, but the young man was no longer the timid security guard he used to be. In just a few moves, he drove the rich man away. To thank the young man, the woman gave him a luxury car worth $30 million, but the young man told her to sell the car and turn it into cash, to buy food and daily necessities and deliver them to a designated location. The woman was shocked by the request, but she gave him a business card. It was then that the young man remembered that in his previous life, the woman had shared food with refugees. Not wanting this kind-hearted woman to die, he told her that a month later, the world would end. He also reminded her to prepare more food and warm clothes.